Rev up your engines!
Well, this Monday, Ford has to convince the skeptics on Wall Street about their EV plans because, you know, Ford split their EV division from their regular division, right? And, of course, the EV version is just bleeding money. They're losing money every electric vehicle they sell. And they say, you know, they're going to make 2 million electric vehicles each year by 2026. Who knows what's actually going to happen? You can forecast whatever you want. You can make all the stinking electric vehicles you want, but if people don't accept them, they're not going to buy the stupid things. We still live in a market economy to some extent. If nobody wants to buy the stupid things, they can make as many as they want. It doesn't mean we're going to go out and buy them. I mean, I talk to people all over, right? Very few people are willing to chance an electric vehicle these days. And some of them are like, I'm never going to buy one of these things until they don't sell gasoline anymore. So this whole idea that they're going to sell millions and millions and make millions, which they haven't done, and they're bleeding money over now, hey, Ford's got to convince Wall Street, oh, no, don't worry about it. Sure, we're losing money now, but keep investing in us because we're going to make money in the future. I've heard so many of these corporate hose bags tell you about how they're going to make a fortune in the future. And guess what? When the future comes, their stock's either turned into a penny stock or it doesn't even exist anymore. There's so many con men out there. Now, Ford's kind of crapping their pants because Wall Street is saying that, well, this idea of Ford's to make all these millions is ambitious. And some people even say it's just crazy high. It'll never happen. Well, Ford's got to turn these people into believers, right? I love how they say believers because that's what it is. It's a belief. This thing about electric cars, it's not a reality. It's a belief. They're trying to convince everybody to believe in this nonsense. An infrastructure that doesn't exist. Vehicles that probably will fall apart before our very eyes. Vehicles that no one will know how to fix. Try getting your regular gasoline car fixed these days. There's already a shortage of mechanics. Electrification, which is harder to figure out, then you're going to have an even bigger lack of mechanics. All Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, he's trying to convince the Wall Street guys that by 2026, he'll have an 8% margin on electric vehicles. That instead of losing money, he'll be making 8%. Now, who the heck knows what's going to happen between now and 3 years from now in terms of what kind of a margin anybody's going to have? He has no idea what the price of lithium is going to be, what kind of batteries they're going to use. If people are even going to buy these electric vehicles, they might have lots of them full that nobody wants. I've already seen at car leasing companies, they have electric vehicles, and a lot of them are just sitting there in parking lots because nobody wants to rent them. And that's not even buying them. That's just renting them. Imagine the step from renting an electric vehicle to actually buying one. I've met doctors, lawyers that were driving electric cars, and I asked them, well, what'd you pay? And they said, well, no, I didn't buy it. I'd lease it. He says, I don't trust this new technology. I'll lease it and see what happens, but I'm not going to buy one. Be responsible for fixing and the loss in value. So even they're just leasing them. Getting people to buy them? Good luck, Jim Farley. Hi, she says. Hey, Scotty, what are the best tips to steal a chick from another guy? Find a guy who's obnoxious, who has a nice girlfriend, and be nice to her. When I was younger, hey, that's what I do, you know. See somebody being really mean to their girlfriend, you're like, she seems like a really nice person. Go over and be nice to her, and maybe she'll change seats then. You can't beat kindness, you know. I'm not going to say go buy a Jaguar or a Ferrari. Who wants gold diggers, right? But if you're just nice to someone and other people aren't being nice, guess what? They're probably going to like you because you're being nice to them. Kindness is something that it's really underrated with people. And in a relationship, hey, that's a big deal. I mean, I've been married for, 45 years now. And sure, my wife's got to be crazy to stick with me, but she's a really nice person. Legend says, hey, Scotty, can AT205 at every oil change help prevent an oil pump seal from leaking? Well, yeah, it could, you know. It only works on seals. It doesn't work on gaskets. It only works on seals, and it rejuvenates rubber, and it doesn't hurt anything. So, yeah, it could easily. You got a high mileage car and you're worried about it, and especially the rear main and the front main seals of the engine. It's great for them. Because if they go out and you got to pull the engine out, that's an expensive endeavor, you know. It's a lot more expensive to replace your rear main seal on your engine than the oil pump seal. Oil pump seal, most cars, you just drop the oil pan, you you get to the oil pump. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to pull the engine out. Raul Doggo Gatto says, are there any good aftermarket shock brands? Oh yeah, there's good ones. Now, I used to like KYB a lot. They're still usually okay, but the company seems to have gotten cheaper than originally. Originally, they all used to be made in Japan. Now they make them all over the place, so it makes me kind of wonder. But I mean, there's stuff like Bilstein that makes excellent shocks. They cost a fortune, but they're excellent. There's good brands out there. I stay away from the old name ones like Monroe, all that stuff. They're garbage these days. They've been watered down so much. One company bought them, and then another company bought that, and they're buying a name, and then they just put cheap quality. A lot of them, they buy the name, and then they just go and make them in Mexico or make them even worse in China, and then bring them over and act like, oh, it's an American company. No, find out where the stuff is made before you buy it. Cool Buddy 28 says, I got an 09 Kia Optima. Mechanic said the transmission's bad and won't replace the fluid, so don't make it worse. The only gear I have a problem with is third. You only have a problem with third gear. You know what I'd do if I were you? I would drop the pan, and I would replace the solenoid for third gear. It could be the solenoid just going bad in third gear. Now, if third gear is actually wearing out, forget it. Nothing's going to fix it. They are gears. They're actual gears. They're not like a CVT transmission that doesn't have gears. They have gears. And if the gear teeth are worn, there's nothing you can do but rebuild the transmission, right? But a lot of times those solenoids go bad, and if it only does it in one gear, it could be a bad solenoid for third gear. I'd say start that. Generally change the fluid if it goes in all the other gears except one. That ain't going to fix anything because it would affect all of them, not just one gear. But a bad solenoid would only make that one go bad because it would be the solenoid for third gear. Ed Miller says, Scotty, can you use Marvel Mystery Oil to free an engine? Oh yeah, we used to use them all the time. You know, it's a very good penetrating oil, Marvel Mystery Oil. We used to even pour it in a gas tank, pour it in all kinds of stuff, but you can't do that anymore because you got catalytic converters, oxygen sensors that'll ruin them over time. For freeing up a locked up engine, you would take all the spark plugs out. Pour it in the spark plug holes, let it sit for a few days, then try getting a pry bar, try moving it, try using the starter arm to get it to spin to see if you can break it free. Immaculately made penetrating oil. It really does penetrate well, so it's worth a try. Max27 says 78 Datsun 280Z, 89,000 miles. Is it better to use conventional oil or full synthetic? Okay, that thing was made for conventional oil. I would stick to the original conventional oil in it. You might find that it'll start leaking oil. You could have problems. You never know. It was made for one type of oil. It's best to stick to that type of oil. It was run on that probably most of its life, so you might as well stick to what worked. And materials were a little bit different back then than they are today. Stick to the normal oil. Here's another reason not to buy Teslas. You get all the batteries go bad, what do? Well, now their first generation and second generation batteries are trickling into electric repair shops and they're breaking down, right? But Tesla's the only real supplier of replacements, and since they really don't care about replacements, all their stuff isn't to building new cars, it can take years to get a new battery pack. Now, there's a guy called Gruber, who's an interesting character, he works on the time, and he tries to give life support to people that own these vehicles. Turns out that there's a bunch of little cells inside the giant battery pack, right? When one cell goes bad, then it starts popping and ruining the cells next to them. He found out that you can plug into the car and it'll tell you which cells are going bad, right? He disconnects those cells from the system. And he claims that by cutting out the bad cells, they still work. There's 6,831 cells. So if you cut a few of them out, it really isn't going to affect it all that badly. But if you don't, it's like cancer. The bad cells start popping and ruining the rest, and then the battery shot. I'm sure it's not cheap to do the work either, but if the battery goes bad, you just can't even get another one. Now, Tesla doesn't care. He didn't care about you. All he cares about is making as many cars as they can and make as much profit as they can. And then when you need parts, oh, well, all our money's put into building new cars and new car batteries. We don't care about the old ones, right? And there's no law in the United States that says he has to make them. The only thing the law says in the United States is you build cars, you have to have parts available to fix your cars only while they're under warranty, right? So if they're under a 3-year warranty, they have to have parts for 3 years, right? And they don't even have to make the parts themselves as long as they're available from somewhere. So that if you go to the dealer and it's under warranty, they can fix your car. That's the only law. There is no law that, oh, they got to make parts. There's a myth that people say, well, they make a car, they got to make parts for at least 10 years. That's law. No, it isn't law. It's as long as the warranty's in effect, they only have to have parts available. They don't even have to make them themselves. So another reason, maybe think twice before you buy a Tesla electric vehicle. Well, here's an interesting fact about the economy and gasoline companies. Well, they're getting a blowback on this climate change stuff by the Exxon and Chevron investors. Now, realize the companies are basically publicly owned. They're publicly traded. They have investors. The investors have a lot to say with what these companies are going to actually do, right? So they can make all these rules about what they want to do here and there, but they are companies that are run by shareholders and people who vote on things. And in this case, they're saying, hey, wait a second, we're going to spend all this money on that? Hey, we're here for profit. And as I've always said, don't listen to the BS philosophy that people throw out and the baloney that they say, left wing, right wing, whatever wing. Just follow the money. And they're all talking about green and stuff. Look at Buffett. He made a fortune the other year buying Occidental Petroleum, buying petroleum stocks, right? You can talk about green this, green that, but follow the money and see what's actually going on. In this case, the investors in Exxon and Chevron are saying, hey, hold your horses on this stuff. You can't force people to do things that are economically against their own interest in a capitalist society. Maybe in China they'll be able to turn to electrification and stuff faster because it's a communist country. The government tells people what to do. They got to do it. They don't have any choice, right? But in a capitalist economy, things are a lot more complex. The governance people, whether they're in Europe or whether they're in the United States, they're a lot more controlled by the money than they let you think. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.